हेलो तो आज हम लोगों का टॉपिक होने वाला है प्रपोजिशन चैप्टर 1। तो स्टार्ट करते हैं। A preposition is a word which generally precedes a noun or pronoun and express a relation between the noun or pronoun and other words or element in the sentence. For example, A. There is a cat on the table. So on is the preposition. B. All the boys are in the room. Note sometimes prepositions are placed at the end of a sentence and not before a noun or pronoun. For example, Amit has much to be said about who they taking to. There are four types of preposition: preposition of time, preposition of time, in, on, since, for, at, from, between, during, after, within, till, until, from, etc. are the preposition of time. Preposition of position or place: between, among, amongst, uh, amidst, in, at, on, beside, besides, etc. Third, preposition of directions: along, across, against, down, up, to, toward, for, from, at, on, etc. Fourth, other preposition: with, without, by, of, around, about, besides, except, etc. Use of some important preposition: up, above, on, over. Up, as a preposition, up is used to talk about a higher proposition on a movement to a higher position. For example, he followed his teacher up the stairs. Second, above. Above is used to denote a higher position or level. For example, his marks above 80% on. On is used to denote the position of something which is in a position above the sometime something else, and is touching it. For example, this book is on table. Note: on is also used before a day or date. For example, I will visit him on Monday. India became republic on 26th January 1950. If there is an article before a mean of transport, on is used. For example, on a bus, train, ship, cycle. Fourth, over. Over is used to denote the position of something which is above something else and is covering it. For example, I put my hand over my eyes. Second, down, below, beneath, under. Down is used to denote a lower position from a higher one. For example, she bent down to look under the car. Below means in a lower position than. For example, my marks are below average. Third, beneath. Beneath means directly underneath something. For example, there is a pipeline beneath the road. Fourth, under. Under is used to denote a position of something which is below. Something else in is often covered by it. For example, doctor put the thermometer under my tongue. Third, between, among, amongst. Between is used to denote space between two separate places, people, or things. For example, my car is parked between a bus and a truck. Among means in the middle of a number, more than two things. For example, he could not find even a single familiar face among the crowd. Among and amongst means same, though they are bit different in uses. For example, the sweet which Odit had bought were distributed among the poor children. Amongst is used before a vowel sound, which among is used for before a consonant sound. For example, amongst them, amongst us. Fourth, besides, except. Beside mean next to. For example, go and sit beside her. Second, besides mean in addition to. For example, they had a lot of things in common besides their professions. Except is used before a noun about which statement is not true. Except means apart from. For example, everyone has attended the class except Rohit. Fifth, since or for. For is used to denote period of time. I have been sleeping for 4 hours. For is used to denote purpose. For example, these seats are reserved for ladies only. Since is used to denote a point of time. Since is used to denote a reason. For example, since I was injured, I didn't play the match. Six, across and through. Across means from one side to other of something with clear boundaries. For example, across a road, across a bridge. Through is used to indicate the movement from one end to other. For example, they can swiftly throw the woods. Seven, on is used to denote a position of something which is in a position above something and is touching. For example, my pen is on the bed. Note on the denote position. Second, upon is used to denote. On is a more formal terms, usually, especially in abstract sense. For example, it was based upon two principle. Third, onto is used to indicate a movement onto a particular place. For example, slipped as she stepped onto the floors. Note upon and onto are used to denote motions. For example, the cat jumped upon the platform. They climbed onto the summit. 8, in, into, within. In is used to denote the position of something which is surrounded or closed or by something. For example, Neelam is in the room. Into is used to denote movement inside or middle of the something. For example, get into the bed. Third, within is used to denote the time or position which is inside the range of limit of a particular period of time or distance. For example, I will complete this work within 2 hours. My house is within a mile of a station. By is used to indicate the person or thing which does something. For example, I was cheated by him. Note by is also used before modes of transportations when it comes with word like go, come, arrive, etc. For example, I go to school by bus. Third, with is used before something which has been used as a means or equipment to do something. For example, Rajesh shoot the tiger with a rifle. Tenth, before and in front of. Before is used of a period of time which is, yeah, earlier than the thing time mentioned. For example, she came before me. In front of means directly ahead of something. Do not stand in front of me. At 11, at is used to denote an exact position or a particular place or time. For example, I am at my home. The school start at 8:30 p.m. In is used when we want to describe a part or a period of time. I'm going to Mumbai. I am going to Mumbai in July. I was born in 1993. To and toward. 12. To is used to denote a destination. For example, I am going to America. She is going to temple. Second, toward. Toward means in direction of. For example, Isha is going toward the college. Rajiv is going toward the temple. Note in the above example, college and temple is not to be destination to Isha and Rajiv. Third, in spite or despite. In spite of and despite. In spite of means being affected by the particular factor mentioned. For example, in spite of being late, he was allowed to enter the class. Despite means in spite of. Despite and in spite of means the same. Never use the preposition of with despite. For example, despite being late, he was allowed to enter the class. Since and from. 14. Since is used to denote a point of time in the past. For example, I had been taken to him since December. She has been teaching in a school since January. From is used to denote a point of time distance at which something start and then continue. For example, the price of milk rises by 100 rupees 10 from Monday. The school remain open from 8:30 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. Note the point of time denoted by from can be in past as well as in future. For example, I will start going to school from the next Monday. Note from is also used to show separation. For example, the boy felt from the terrace. 15th off and OFF off. OF off is used to denote relations. For example, Sam is a friend of mine. The leg of this table is broken. Sorry, broken. मैंने थोड़ा गलत बोल दिया. OFF off is used to denote separation. For example, she fell off the bed as she took his jacket off. 16 during and for. During is used to express the period of time in which something happened. For example, I was in Delhi during the winter. I went to Shimla during vacations. For example, sorry for express how something is last. For example, they were on the leave of for 2 weeks. Appropriate preposition with different part of a speech. Noun followed by preposition of abhorrence of um, charge of doubt of failure of proof of want of assurance of distrust of experience of observance of result of uh, adjective followed by preposition of accused of afraid of appraised of aware of bought of certain of composed of conscious of acquainted of apprehensive of assured of bereft of cautions of characteristic of confident of convict covetous of depressed of depraved of devout of distrustful of as of fearful of greedy of headless of informed of irrespective of lavish of productive of regard of sensible of slow of sure of tolerant of diffracted of distress of different of dulio of envious of fond of guilty of ignorant of innocent of lame of negligent of proud of signue of sick of surveillance of suspicious of vain of void of worthy of weary of aware of by preposition of acquit of both of despite of sorry disapproved of divest of heal of repent of beware of complain of die of dispose of dream of judge of taste of. Noun followed by preposition for affected for anxiety for appetite for blame for capacity for compensate for craving for estimate for fondness for leisure for match for need for partially for pity for pretext for remorse for ambition for apology for aptitude for candidate for compassion for contempt for desire for fitness for guarantee of liking of motive for opportunity for passion for predilection for relish for reputation for adjective following preposition for anxious for conspicuous for designed for eager for, eminent for, good for, notorious for, prepared for, qualified for, sorry for, useful for, zealous for, sufficient for, ready for, proper for, patient for, grateful for, fit for, eligible for, destined for, customary for, celebrate from, verb followed by preposition for, atone for, care of, feel for, mourn for, canvas for, clamorous for, hope for. Start for, sue for, yearn for, stipulate for, wish for. Verb followed by preposition on, comment on, deliberate on, determine on, embark on, enlarge, insist on, resolve on, tremble on, decide on, depend on, drivel on, encroach on, impose on, intrude on, subsist on. Noun followed by preposition to, access to, alliance, allegiance to, antidote to, approach to, attachment, concession to, dislike to, enmity to, incentive to, invitation to, leniency to, limit to, obedience to, postscript to, reference to, resemblance to, summation to, temptation to, traitors to, squirrel to, represents to, preface to, objection to, menace to, likeness to, key to, indifference to, exception to, encouragement to, disgrace to, attention to, assent to, antipathy to, alternate to, accessions to. Adjective followed by preposition to, abhorrent to, accessible to, accidental to, indebted to, inimical to, injured to, favorable to, immaterial to, indigenous to, limitation to, loyal to, natural to, acceptable to, impartment to, indifferent to, ingredient to, insensible to, irrelevant to, hurtful to, invidious to, liable to, lost to, material to, necessary to, obedient to, offensive to, painful to, peculiar to, pleasure to, prejudicial to, prior to, reduced to, relevant to, responsible to, scared to, suitable to, supplementary to, true to, obligated to, opposed to, partial to, pertinent to, prevail to, portable to, prone to, relevant to, repugnant to, restriction to, subject to, situated to, tenement to. Verb followed by preposition to, accept to, adhere to, allude to, appoint to, aspire to, attain to, attribute to, conduce to, concern to, lead to, object to, prefer to, stoop to, surrender to, yield to, testify to, exclamate to, succulent to, revert to, occur to, listen to, conform to, belong to, attend, assent to, ascribe to, apologize to, allot to, adapt to. Adjective followed by preposition in, absorbed in, accomplished in, assiduous in, bigoted in, defensive in, experienced in, involved in, foiled in, implicated in, involved in, proficient in, temperate in, abstemious in, accurate in, backward in, correct in, deficient in, diligent in, fertile in, honest in, interested in, lax in, remiss in, versed in. Verb followed by preposition in, involve in, acquisitive in, delight in, enlist in, fall in, increase in, preserve in, persist in, dabble in, employ in, excel in, indulge in. Noun followed by preposition with acquaintance with, bargain with, conformity with, intercourse with, relation with, alliance with, compromise with, enmity with, intimacy with. Adjective followed by preposition with, adequate with, beside with, compatible with, consistent with, content with, convergent with, delighted with, disguised with, endowed with, fired with, infatuated with, infested with, invested with, popular with, satiated with, touched with, satisfied with, repleted with, overcome with, inspired with, infected with, gifted with, fatigued with, drenched with, delued with, convulsed with, contrast with, contemporary with, complaint with, busy with, afflicted with. Verb followed by preposition with, associated with, clash with, comply with, condole with, correspond with, dulge with, dispense with, grapple with, intrigue with, part with, remonstrate with, sympathize with, trifle with, via with, side with, quarrel with, middle with, exploitate with, fill with, disagree with, credit with, cope with, condone with, coincide with, bear with. Were followed by preposition from, abstain from, cease from, delogate from, detract from, differ from, descend from, emergence from, exclude from, prevent from, protect from, recover from, refrain from, recoil from, provide from, preserve from, escape from, elect from, disgrace from, delegate from, desist from, devour from, allied from. Noun followed by preposition from, respite from, abstains from, deliverance from, digressions from, exemptions from, inference from, cessations from, descent from, escape from. We now present a list from noun and appropriate preposition. A list of noun and appropriate preposition: abstain from wine, ability for in some work, abstain of wealth, accession to the throne. To is preposition: accesses to the person or place, sorry, accomplice with a person in a crime, accusation of, forgery in accordance with some rule, affinity with something, adherence to a rule, affections from for somebody, affinity between two things, alliance with a person or state, allusion to something, alternate to, mention something, analogy of, one thing with another, analogy between things, animosity against something, antidote against an, inaffections, and antidote to some, poison, adherence of danger, approach to step toward anything, arrival in a country, arrival at a place, assault on a person, uh, attraction to or, toward a thing, authority over a person or authority on a subject, aversion to a person or thing, candidate for a post, care for somebody, safety, care for, his health, charge of murder, change with, theft, claim or against, somebody, claim to property, compact, with a person, comment on something, comparison of something with, somebody, buy dash in, uh, by slash in comparison with, comparison for something, somebody, competition with somebody, competition for something, complicity in a crime, compliances with a request, condemnation to death, confidence in somebody, conformity with anyone's view, conformity to rule, compensate for a loss, connective with a person or think, connivance at, anyone's fault, consciousness of guilt, considerations for something, somebody, contact with somebody, something slash something, contempt for a person or thing, a contrast with a person, contrast to a person or thing, controversy on or about something, contribution to a fund, contribution towards some project, conversation with somebody, decision on some case, decisions of some dispute, decline of an empire, decline in moral slash moral or price, degradation from rank, light in slash in something, descent from ancestors, desire for wealth, desires adjective, of something, disgust at meanness, dislike to a person or thing, distaste for mathematics slash something, doubt for about a thing, duty to a person, encroachment on slash upon one's right, and engagement with somebody, entrance into a place, enmity with a somebody, esteem for something, exception to a rule, excuse for a mistake, failure of electricity, failure of something in something, somebody in something, faith in somebody or something, familiarity with a person or thing, freedom from care, freedom of action, glance at a person or thing, glance over a wide surface, gratitude for a thing, gratitude to a person, a grief at an event, grief for a person, grief at a truth, some slash something, harmony with anything, hatred of for or for somebody, hatred or a thing, here to some property, here of somebody, hindrance to something, hint at some reward, so for better luck, hospitality to a person or cause, identity with somebody, something, imprison into water, implications in the crime, implications on something, someone, imputations against somebody, incentive to a worker, inclined for sport, something, indifference to help other, indulgence to a beauty, indulgence to a beautiful woman, influence over with somebody, influence on decision of wife. Inquiry informs circumstances slash a case, insight into something, somebody, characters in sorry, interactions with a superior, intercessions for a friend, judications in a lawsuit, judications of or for crime, key of understanding for of the problem, liability to an illness, liable against this character, liking for non-vegetarian, something, longing for luxury, something, lust for life, slash something, malicious against an enemy, negligent of duty, negligent of doing a thing, nomination of a member, nomination to a position, opportunity for giving, going abroad, doing doing something, partnership in a thing, or power over a person, persecution against infections, preface to a book, preference for something, preparation for examination slash something, proof against something, proof of guilty, qualification of a post, quarrel with a somebody slash something, readiness in responding, readiness for journey, reference to a person or thing in regard to that matter, regard for a person, relation between two things, the relation with somebody, remonstrance against somebody, somebody's conduct, remonstrate with somebody, reply to a query slash a person, request for a thing, resemblance to a person or thing in respect of some quality, a rivalry with a person, arrival in something, search for after a wealth, in search of wealth, slash a job, etc, share in a property, something, share with somebody, sin against god, slash mankind slash humanity, sympathy with or for somebody, temptation to evil, temptation in diet, trespass against the law, warrant for somebody's arrest with a view to witness of or to a case, wonder at his behavior, sometimes, some verbs and appropriate preposition abound in or with um, something, across to somebody, accurate from something, accuse somebody of checked, acquit of a person of all charges, less all complicity, acquaint a person in a crime, adapt to a new surrounding, adherence to a plan, a rule, a slash a rule, a principle, agree to a proposal, agree with a person, agree on a some matter, aim at a target, aim at a doing something, alight from a bus slash a train, etc, allude to a fact, answer for misconduct slash something, apology to somebody, apologize for something, appeal to the judge, something, appeal against a sentence, appeal for mercy, something, appeal to a person, appeal for some post slash something, appoint to a post, argue with a person for or against a point, arrive at a conclusion, arrive at a station or slash a place, arrive in a country, ask for assistance, ask of or from somebody, associate with a group, blame a person for something, blush at one's own mistake, blush for somebody who is at fault, border on a place, borrow up from our friend slash somebody, break the news of somebody's death, break through restraint, break ill news to a friend slash to somebody, break, dissolve partnership with somebody, bring a thing to a light, bring a thing under notice, brushed upon suddenly, invade a country, brushed into laughter, brushed into tears, call on a person, call of demand, require something, call something in a order or request the return of canvas for support, both care for attach value to a person or thing, care about a feel, interact, anxiety or sorrow, something challenges are meant to combat, fight, life fight, charge a man with a crime, charge payment to a person, confide with one's opinion, come about, happens, come across, to meet suddenly, come after somebody, follow, come into fashion, come by in something, obtained by effort, come of a rich family, commence with a thing, communicate a thing to somebody, communicate with somebody, compare somebody with somebody, compare something with something similar, compare two dissimilar things, compare for loss, complete with somebody, for a price something, complain to somebody, complain against somebody, complain of slash about something, console fact from somebody, concede to some demand, concur with a person, concur in an opinion, condemned a person to death, confirm a norm, confirm with one's opinion, congratulate somebody on his success, consult with, discuss with one's friend, contribute to a fund, converse with a person about a thing, cope with situation, correspond with a person, right, cure a person of a disease. And our chapter is now completed.